leptin going through your bloodstream, your body's just going to say, it's too much. You become desensitized to it. Start to ignore it, okay? So if you have too much leptin, or your body's not recognizing leptin, your body doesn't know when it has enough fat, when to burn or store fat, and most importantly, when to stop eating. Okay? This is the biggest problem with leptin right here, is when a person should stop eating, because hunger is really one of those what's the word? Urge or impulse or something. Okay, if you're hungry, you're going to eat. Okay, and if this leptin is always telling you that you're hungry, then you're going to eat more. And that's really the problem. That's what's going on with that leptin. Any questions on that? Does it make sense? Okay. So yeah, basically, if you have too much sugar in your body, some of it's going to be burned up by the cells, but then the cell is going to kick off leptin. Leptin is what, if you have too much leptin, you're going to become leptin resistant, and then your body won't know when it has enough fat, or when it should burn and store fat, and when you should stop eating, or when you should stop getting hungry. Okay? Produced by the fat cells, tells the brain when to be hungry and when to eat. Right here, regulates metabolism. Okay, everything we're talking about really comes back to metabolism. You eat food, and how does your body use that food? Okay, that's what metabolism is. Here's my favorite line: it's controlled by the nervous system. Okay, just because I like the nervous system. But anyways, yeah, the nervous system is controlling metabolism. It's controlling all these different functions that are going on in the body, and that's really where chiropractic comes in. That's the next slide. Okay. So in summary, for diabetes, daily exercise, resistance training and aerobic training, dietary changes, no sugar, eat low glycemic index foods, you guys have a handout on that, avoid the processed foods, and then eat whole, natural, or organic foods. Okay, these foods right here are not processed and are going to be lower glycemic index foods. That's what we're getting at. And then the chiropractic adjustments, of course, which you guys are doing, that's going to help your nervous system, which is going to help your metabolism and your body function. I left this slide in here, healthy by choice, not by chance. Okay, so here's chiropractic once again. This poster, you may have seen this around the office, but it shows the different parts of the body, the different nerves, and then the different bones. If the bones are out of alignment, that's subluxation. Subluxation will affect the nerves, which will affect those organs, usually with decreased function. Always with decreased function, I should say. Here's an interesting quote. The brain and nervous system regulate and control all body function, directly or indirectly. Well, that's kind of obvious almost, right? But they published that in 1895 in this anatomy textbook, so we've known about it for quite a while. Scientists have found the first evidence of an anatomical connection between the nervous system and the immune system. That was from 1993. They published that in the New York Times. So for the last, almost 20 years, we've known about the immune system being controlled by the nervous system. And then chiropractic actually came along in between there in 1895, so 18 years ago. Chiropractic came along. This guy, D.D. Palmer, you may have heard of him, came up with the idea that by working on the spine, you actually influence the nervous system and you increase the function of the body. Okay, subluxation, misalignment of the spinal bones. The big question is, what causes subluxation? You guys probably know all this stuff, right? Or some of it anyways. Okay, physical stress, chemical stress, and then mental/emotional stress. Everything is really lumped into those three categories, okay? Physical stress, oops. Oh, my slides are out of order. Physical stress, the birth process, okay? Everybody has this, by the way. Physical stress, birth process, anytime when you're being born, There's pulling and twisting, squeezing. That's going to create problems, especially up here in the neck. Sports, accidents, sitting, poor posture, those types of things. Chemical stresses. There's that caffeine again on there. I would say on this list right here, I would say caffeine, processed foods, and medications are the big ones. Those are really the big ones that I see most commonly. Okay, so if you can work on those 3 areas, you'll be much better off. And then the emotional or the mental stress. Anybody have mental stress in your life?
Yeah.
I do. Public speaking.
Everybody tells me I do.
Just
You
make
worry
sure
too much.
Just make sure you're not the source of the mental stress. Okay, worry, financial problems, schedules, heartbreak, losing loved ones. All this stuff can cause emotional or mental stress. All right, I really like this one. Henry Windsor, medical doctor in 1921. He was the guy who did the autopsies. So he worked on human and animal cadavers, and he looked at the alignment of the vertebrae and the diseased organs. Okay, so he was doing the autopsy, and what he found was 96% of the time there was a subluxation in the spine that was affecting the diseased internal organ. Okay, so if I die of heart disease, he would look at my heart, follow the nerve back to the spine, and 96% of the time there was a subluxation right there in the spine. Pretty clear, right? And that was back in 1921. So almost 100 years, for the last 100 years, we've had the research. Okay. Yep. That. Skip that one. Okay. Any questions yet? No? Good. I must be doing a good job. Here's a question that comes up in our office in various forms. Why do I still have pain, or why do I still have such and such a problem? Stuff like that. How long have you been developing the problem? Okay. If you tell me you've had diabetes for 20 years, chiropractic is great, but your diabetes is probably not going to go away in a couple months. One gentleman that we had here, or still have here, he had diabetes, and he did an amazing job with his diet, with his exercise, his adjustments, of course, and he's like a different person. I mean, his diabetes is completely under control or gone. He just did really, really well. Changed his whole diet around. He was eating a lot of processed foods, so started eating the natural foods, the organic foods, stuff like that. Exercise, he goes on like these long bike rides and stuff. Pretty impressive. He's doing really well. But once again, he had diabetes for a number of years, so it took him probably 6 months or whatever to really change things around for himself. Are you keeping all your scheduled adjustments? The closer you stay to your schedule, the better your results are going to be. Are you doing your stretches and exercises? We have all of our stretches and exercises on our website now. Did you guys know that? CottageGroveChiro.com. Go on to the left side. There's a username and password. It's Oasis, and then Oasis, lowercase letters. Real easy. But anyways, then you can click on the different links, and one of them is for animated exercises, which is kind of funny because the little guy will come on there and show you how to do the exercises. There's all our exercise handouts, a lot of good stuff on there on our website. How's your diet? Do you need to add in supplements? How's your attitude? I noticed this one here in the office. Not with any of you guys. Sometimes people, though, seriously, they come into the office and they have a bad attitude. And it's almost like they do not want to get better. They do not want to improve. Okay, so I try to encourage them as much as possible and stuff like that. But the people who have a better attitude are going to get better results. It's just the way it is. You could be toxic in something. That goes back to the plant example. If you have a plant that's dying, okay, you need to give it water, sunlight, nutrients, and then you also need to remove any toxins. Same thing with the human body, okay? If I exercise, I eat well, I get adjusted, I'm doing all this type of stuff, but I'm also drinking 6 cans of Pepsi.